There's no doubt that good quality video is important. However, you might find that good quality audio is just as important, if not more so. This episode is all about microphones, what you should look into for different types of content, as well as what I use. But we'll start with on-camera microphones or on-camera audio and why it's bad. For a start, if you're buying a SLR, it is a picture camera first, and then it happens to do video, and then not much thought's given to the audio. There are other reasons why it's bad too. The microphone is really close to the lens, so if you've got any sort of continuous autofocus where the lens will, track a face and all of that, keep that in focus, the lens is going to move back and forth and you're going to hear all the micro steps. I've got a USM lens, that's an ultrasonic motor, and it's quite quiet, except for when the microphone is closer to the lens than when I am. The other reason why onboard audio tends to be quite poor is it's quite a distance away. Now I'm standing only about a metre away now, but if I move to the back of the workshop here, it's now 3 or 4 metres. It's got to take in a lot of stuff to actually pick me up. So what is on-camera audio good for? Well, it's good for syncing with other microphones, but for workshop sounds, for lack of a better word, it's fine. Generally speaking, you don't need a really high fidelity sound of the table saw going. You certainly can upgrade your microphone for environmental sounds, but it's not as important as it is for vocals. So that's what you perhaps shouldn't use. What should you use? Well, this depends a lot on the different type of content. I have 3 different microphones and they get used for different things. I'll start off with what I'm using now. It is a lavalier microphone, a lav microphone, or a lapel microphone. Let's call it a lav. This sits quite close to me and it has a omnidirectional pickup pattern. That means it takes audio from all directions. So it doesn't really matter whether it's on my chest, on my hat, clipped to my beard or something like that. Because it is quite close to me, I don't have to shout, but it also doesn't pick up noises from a little bit further away from me, particularly when I'm talking. I happen to be using the Rode SmartLav Plus, which is designed to hook up to a mobile phone. I don't have mine hooked up to it. I've got a separate audio device, which is this guy here. That's actually relatively unimportant. I ended up buying that because my phone at the time, which was a Sony phone, didn't provide enough phantom power to this microphone. Now, most phones will. This is designed to work with mobile phones and it does a great job. It's not the only one on the market, but I do like Rode products, so that's what I use. They're not a sponsor, it's just that's what I use. This was no doubt the biggest audio quality upgrade I've done, and for most people, this would be all you ever need. If you want to do voiceovers, you can certainly use a lav microphone, talk into the camera if you want, read off a script, it doesn't really matter, it'll do the job. I tend to like to leave this microphone down in the workshop, and then in my study where I edit stuff, I have another microphone. Another popular option is shotgun mic. This happens to be a Rode video mic. This is the first generation of them. It's quite old compared to what you can get now, but it still does the job just fine. These have a lot of advantages and disadvantages. For a start, this is quite a directional microphone, so that's both a plus and a negative. If I am standing in the center of the frame, or even fairly close to it, it's going to pick up the audio just fine. So what you're listening to now is the audio from the shotgun mic. It sounds quite good. There are some pros and cons to it. So what are the pros and cons to it? For a start, this particular model requires a battery, which sometimes I've forgotten to turn on, and means I would lose all audio because it's recording directly to the camera, so that audio is lost as well. It is quite a directional microphone, so if it's pointed at your subject, which is typically going to be you, it can be fine. The problem arises when you start to move a little bit to the side of the frame, or perhaps out of frame entirely, but it's still talking, because the microphone is no longer pointing at you and it's so directional that your audio will start to drop off. And that's probably the largest advantage of a lav, is that it's on you, so when you're talking, it captures everything. The disadvantage, of a lav is that you've actually got a suit up type thing to use it. Shotgun mics are typically a little bit more expensive. They can provide much better sound quality, not just for vocals, but again, you've got to make sure it's aimed at your subject. And the third microphone I have is the Rode NT USB. As I said, I like Rode products. They're designed in Australia, and they're an Australian company, and the customer support is really good, so I've got no problems buying them over another company that I have no idea about. And I'm being quite happy with this microphone. As the name implies, this is a USB microphone, so it just has a standard USB port. It doesn't have any line out or anything like that. Quite a no frills type microphone, but it's built quite solidly, and the sound quality is quite good. If you've listened to any of my voiceovers where I'm not on screen, that's typically going to be recorded through this. If you are doing voiceovers that you want to record directly onto your computer, I would recommend a USB microphone over a 3.5mm stereo microphone, because onboard sound cards or even external sound cards tend to be quite low quality and don't provide enough power for the microphone to actually sound half decent. Hang on, this is getting a bit expensive, right? I need to get 3 microphones and SLR, a whole bunch of lenses? No. You don't need 3 microphones. I choose to have 3 microphones. The video mic from before, the shotgun mic, I don't use that often anymore. I typically use it to get better environmental audio when it's applicable. The USB microphone, this is great for gaming as well as my video production. I don't have to futz around with audio levels because it has such a low noise floor that it just sounds great. Alright, so you don't need all 3. Which one should you get? In terms of expense, the SmartLav Plus is fantastic because, as I said, hook it up to your mobile phone, you get better audio straight away. Shotgun mic in some situations works really well, perhaps better, particularly if you're uncomfortable having a lav mic on. However, it can be a lot more difficult to operate, and depending on what model you get, you may need to have a battery in it, and you've got to keep that charged, make sure it's turned on, those sorts of things, so it can be easy to forget that and lose all audio entirely. If the type of content you produce is primarily voiceover type stuff, so none of this talking headshot, I'd highly recommend some sort of USB microphone. You can certainly look at the Yeti by Blue. They are going to be much less fuss to get good quality audio straight to your computer without having to invest in an external sound card to boost audio volume and then still having issues of some sort. The SmartLav Plus is not the only lav that you can use with your smartphone. You can get adapters to use a regular lav that has a mini jack on it. Or if your phone came with a headset, typically they'll have a microphone in them where they have the earbuds split. You can certainly use that to do lav type stuff, and Jay Bates actually did a video on that and used that for many years. Now there is still a lot more to talk about with audio in terms of processing and how you should set all your levels and all of that, but for now we'll leave it at just the different types of microphones you should look into.